The Model Shop live scale modeling show is brought to you by Tenant Controls, makers of lighting kits, soundboards, and more. Tenant Controls brings your models to life. And by HDA Model Works, suppliers of scale model lighting products, detail parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today. Hello there and good evening everybody. I want to get things started off tonight by saying Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. Maybe some of you guys are watching with us tonight. I'm your host Boyd Crompton and welcome to episode 110 of the Model Shop. We're coming to you live from our shop here in San Antonio, Texas again. Got a nice little show in store for you guys tonight. We're going to kick things off tonight and head over to our Google community and catch up on all the modeling news that's going on over there. Quite a bit going on. We've got several of our members that are continuing to work on their group build that we've had going on for the last couple of months. A couple of weeks left to go. We've got our spring build that we're doing, which is based on the subjects that we're building are based on anything from movies or television, so a lot of people are having fun with that, and we had a lot of wide variety of subjects going on, some really cool work. And then we've got some interesting model kit news that's come out about some new kits that are coming out and stuff, so we're going to head over there. We're going to go over to the bench tonight and work on our James Bond Little Nelly. I've done a little bit to it here since our last show, finished some of the assembly work. We did some painting on this, and we're going to be doing a little bit more assembly and painting on it tonight. It's coming together really nice. This little Airfix kit is going together quite well. I'm really happy with it. Haven't had any problems so far. So we're going to kick things off. I'm going to head over to the Google community page here, and let me bring up the screen share with you guys. Hopefully this will work right. And here we are. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. Okay, we've got a lot of work going on. You can see we've got Mark Shue here that's continuing with his Grandpa Munster build. That's the Mobius kit. You can see the last update we had on this, he had just basically worked on the head or the face part of Grandpa there. Let's click on his pictures here and see what he's got going on. He's got the costume painted up pretty nice there. That looks good. And he's working on the machine that Grandpa uses for his crazy experiments. It looks like he's getting ready to light this. You can see he's drilled out some holes here on the bottom. Probably going to be putting some LEDs and stuff in there, so that'll be pretty neat to see how that turns out. And there's the little bit more detail on the face work that Mark's doing. We've got an update here from our good friend James Frost, who's doing this wonderful paper modeling. You can see this car that he's been working on here is a Formula One racer. We'll click on his pictures here. And he does such wonderful work with these paper models, it's really difficult to tell that they're not a regular styrene model kit. And you can see that he's got this really looking nice. It's a lot more difficult than it looks. James has talked about this to a lot of people on hangouts that he does and stuff. When you start getting into these paper models, you kind of want to start off with something fairly simple and then start working your way up to the more complex stuff. But James is a seasoned papercraft modeler, and so he's really got some fantastic skills with this stuff. But you just practice a little bit, you can turn out models just like this. Main thing is you have to have a nice printer, but you can see that looks fantastic. The nice thing about these models is that a lot of these are already, you know, your colors and everything are already all on here, so you don't have to do any painting or anything. And it's coming out really, really nice. It's great. I like the fact that he's got the driver figure to go along with it there. Nice work, James. We have Alan Blind, who's continuing to work on his Starsky and Hutch Torino. Let's check out what he's got going on there. He's doing this for our spring group build. He's got the engine installed. Did a little bit of wiring there. Give it a little bit more detail. That's looking really good, Alan. Thanks for your updates. And Modeler X is doing the 172 X-Wing. Looks like he's doing some lighting on that. It's got some paint work going on the wings there with a little bit of that usual weathering and chipping that we see on the Star Wars X-Wing ships. Looks like he's working with some small SMDs in there to get his lighting done. You can see that when you work with this stuff, you have to carefully plan everything out and route your wiring and then figure out a way to hide all of it. Test it as you go along. Oh, I like the purple engine effect. That's nice. Nice job on running the wiring through the body. So there's another update for you. Let's see what else we've got going on. Oh, I saw this one the other day. One of our modelers here, Jeff Black, did a fantastic job on this Polar Lights Robbie the Robot kit. Beautiful detail inside the upper part there. Really looks great. I'm not sure if he lit it or not, but you know, a little bit of paint work and stuff, you can almost kind of simulate the lighting. It looks great. I have that same kit, so maybe I'll get some inspiration for that. This is the earlier kit that they put out that doesn't come with the female Altera figure, which is kind of the kit that everybody wants because he's in a kind of a more of a neutral pose and he comes with a nice base. And of course, if you put the Altera figure on here, you know, he's the second release of this kit, he's carrying her, so it blocks a lot of the detail on the front part of the model, so a lot of the people prefer this version, and it's getting kind of hard to find. Maybe they'll re-release that one. Great job on that one, Jeff. And then our always active Scott Hatchard, aka Aussie Trekkie, he's got another set of pictures and a couple of new videos out on his various military ships that he's been working on. Here he's working on a German U-boat, doing a lot of photo etch and detail work. He updates all this stuff on his YouTube channel. You can find him under Aussie Trekkie. He does some really nice in-depth tutorials for people that are new with, you know, working with photo etch and stuff like that, and it's really helpful stuff. So if you're looking to learn a little bit about that, I really encourage you to check out Scott's channel. And he's got several projects going on here. He's got this U-boat, he's got a couple of 1/350 and 1/200 scale battleships he's working on. Really nice, really nice. I believe this is the big 172 Revell kit, which those are always really nice kits to work with. And let's see what else we have here, everybody. We have John Hunt, who just finished up this really nice Romulan bird of prey from Star Trek The Next Generation. You can see he did all the work up here up in the front section, which there's literally hundreds of window ports that need to be opened up on that model to get the lighting done properly, and he did a great job on it. He's got it facing off with the Enterprise E here. Nice little diorama. Did a beautiful job on both those models. Love the green glow effects on this back part of the ship here. That looks really nice. And we have an earlier update from Jeff here where he was working on the Robbie the Robot. We have Tagamo Model Works doing his spring build here. This is the new Bandai. I always get these Star Wars things crossed up if it's the AT-ST or AT-AT or whatever it's called, but the four-legged guy, the giant walking thing. And you can see that this is a much improved kit from the old Revell and Monogram kits that were out there. It's not quite as big, but the detail is a lot more accurate, and as usual, Tag's doing a really nice job on this. He'll be doing some weathering and stuff on that. It looks really nice. I believe he said it's about 12 inches long though, so it's still a pretty good sized kit. It's definitely nice. I'll probably pick one of these up myself. I've never built one of these, and it's an iconic part of the original Star Wars trilogy, so definitely worth checking that out. Here we have Jason Webster, who's working on the big Zvezda Star Destroyer kit, doing all of his fiber optic work. For those of you that have never worked with fiber optics, this gives you kind of an idea of what it's like to work with it and lay it out inside the model. Now there's different techniques. Some people will set it up like he's doing here with a central point of light, which you call an emitter, and you'll have either a tube or something where all the fiber optics all come in and tie in together, and it in one light source basically lights all this stuff up. Another way that you can do this is you can just use, which kind of is the method that I prefer, just because it's a little bit less work, but it gives you basically the same effect. As you can just cut these fiber strands, you know, fairly short and leave about that much of them on the inside, and then just put a couple of strips of LED tape or LEDs or whatever you want to use in here, and the fiber optics will pretty much pick up that light. It's a little bit, doing it that way, it's a little bit more intensive as far as if you have any big gaps or anything around the edges, because light leaks are going to show up a little bit easier, but you can usually work your way around that. But like I said, there's different methods for using fiber optics, but he's got a really nice effect going on there, as you can see. Lots of lights on these Star Destroyers. There's literally hundreds of lights on the sides of these things. Last show we showed you an update where he had the back part lit here. It looks great. I think he just used some regular blue LEDs in there and some white ones. Usually the page stays where I am. It keeps refreshing and going back to the very top. Apologize for the scrolling, guys. This is one that I wanted to show you, being worked on by Chris Farrell. We featured a couple of these a while back on our show, did a review on a couple of these kits. These are kits that are put up by a company called Metal Earth. They're small, miniature. Basically, you can think of it as an entire model made out of photo etch. And they're extremely detailed. As you can see, this is the USS Arizona. They make probably 30 or 40 different kits. A lot of historical kind of stuff. And the detail on these things is outstanding. And they're computer cut, so they're, you know, the bends and everything are kind of pre-made into the metal, so you have guidelines, and you just have to put on a really good pair of magnifying glasses and just start cutting the parts out and shaping and bending. There's little tabs that hold everything together that once you put them together they have to be bent over so that they secure the parts, but once you kind of get the hang of it, they're really fun to work on, and they're very inexpensive too. They're, you know, usually around less than $10 per kit, so something you might want to try if you don't have a lot of time or a lot of space to work on larger models or plastic models where you have to paint and everything. They're designed to be left unpainted, although I suppose you could paint them if you wanted to. But they're really fun to work with, so if you just want to stay busy doing some kind of hobby work, they're great little kits for that. And they have a wide variety. You can look them up on the web. They have their own website that's Metal Earth. Here's an earlier picture where Chris was working on the superstructures. You can see it looks just exactly like the Arizona, so it's really, really cool little kits. Here we have an interesting one from Dennis Statler. He's a longtime follower of the show, and he's in our chat group usually every week. He's kind of custom making this Winnebago spaceship from Spaceballs, which I apologize, Dennis. I have to go back and look and see what they actually call this. The Eagle 5. Now I remember. And this was really cool. And John added his own parts on this and kind of made it into this thing, and it's turning out really neat and be kind of a one-of-a-kind thing. So hats off to that one, Dennis. That's really cool and unique idea. Here we have John Hunt, who had earlier built a Godzilla 2000 model, and he wanted to have a background for it, so he went ahead and built this entire cityscape here, which it turned out fantastic. I love these pictures. It totally reminds me of the classic Godzilla movies that we all grew up with. If you're a child of the 70s like I was, these movies were that we all watched these and just totally fell in love with them. I love the kind of the more of the retro look Godzilla than I do the newer one, but that's just kind of my own taste because I'm an old schooler. But fantastic job on this. Absolutely love that. A lot of imagination and a lot of hard work went into that. You can see he's got some lighting in the buildings and the water detail and everything. Just a super, super job. Matt Alkire, who's working on a Millennium Falcon. Let's click on some of these pictures. Matt's explaining here how he's doing some weathering. Millennium Falcon, of course, has a lot of weathering and wear and tear on it, and he's adding all that detail, just doing kind of a panel at a time here. I'm not sure exactly which kit this is. This might be the Fine Molds large scale kit, but it's turning out really nice. Here John Hunt doing some more work. This looks like it's the Enterprise C. Here we have Jeff Black, who did a really nice job on a classic comic book version of the Batmobile, or actually it might even been from the original old school Batman series. That was a mini like a serial that was on that they showed at the cinema, and I just love this car. It's just so cool looking and so retro, and it's got some wild stuff going on in the interior. You can see he's done a lot of work getting like the wood grain effect and everything in there. It's turning out really, really cool, and it definitely looks like the Batmobile. Really like this. I think this is put out by Johnny Lightning, if I'm not mistaken. That is really cool. Let's see, going on down the line here a little bit. We've got Dan Harris doing a Colonial Viper from the classic Battlestar Galactica television series. This is the I think this is a 135 scale kit, and he's working on the lighting for his engines. Another one of the guys participating in our spring build. Llewellyn working on the old Wright Flyer there. We had Air Cool, who just finished up his huge 1/200 scale HMS Rodney. It's a famous British battleship from World War II. These pictures I thought looked really great. It gave it a really sense of realism once he put the model outside. You got the sky in the background, and he just did a really, really nice job on the detail of this model. Look at the great job he did on the rigging and the. If you had a little bit of water going along the waterline here, you'd swear that was a real shot of the ship, the actual real ship. That's just beautiful work. Really nice job on the reconnaissance aircraft there. All the photo etch detail. And this is a huge model. One of our other members, Calvin Sweet, just finished one of these. not too long ago as well. And these things are like the hull is almost like a small kayak. It's a giant model, but put out by Trumpeter, and I'm sure he's done a lot of aftermarket work with aftermarket parts on it. Love the detail on these anti-aircraft guns. All the railing going on. A little bit of rust and wear and tear just like these ships had. Very nice job. I believe we'll also see here, I saw a little update, something I wanted to share with you guys. Little nifty little technique that we had, one of our members came up with for making flags for your ships. Let me see if I can find it. It's got to be right around in here somewhere. I remember seeing it. Here we go. Aircool, who was working on the Rodney there, he wanted to make his flags look like they were, fluttering in the wind. So what he did is he basically took some really thin sheet styrene and heated it up and just kind of crinkled it up a little bit there, and then put his flag paper or decals over the top of it and cut it out, and presto, you have some really nice looking flags that are more realistic looking than being flat. So that's a really nice little tip. You guys might want to check that out next time you're working with something like that. Here we have a nice picture of some new galaxies from the Hubble telescope. We have John Petrie working on his, I believe this is a McKee ship. Let's check this out. Got the wood mounting block mounted in there. Looks like he's doing a little bit of work getting ready to do some lighting and stuff. Nice work as usual, John. We have Jim Clark, who's been working on the Rio Grande runabout that we saw on Deep Space Nine, and you can see he's done a beautiful job working on this. All the lighting is done. He's got all the markings on. He's even got a fully detailed crew and cockpit. Really nice job. Got the conference room going on there in the back. These guys are just taking it easy and chilling out. Really nice job. Love all the detail and different color paneling work he's done on this. A bit blurry there. There's a nice shot of the interior. They're either having a really important meeting or they're playing poker, probably. Very nice. Let's see what else we can find here, guys. As you can see, we've got a fairly active community here. A lot of people building, a lot of people sharing their tips and sharing interesting trailers about sci-fi and related movies that are coming out. Saw an update here on the Revell Star Destroyer that I wanted to share with you guys too, that I believe was posted by our member Gadgetron. Let's see if I can find that. We have Heath Tompkins here that did a really nice classic Buick Riviera. Let's have a look at these pictures. The old low and slow. That's a nice job, Heath. I like the wheels on that car. Some nice Photoshop pictures of the Falcon there. Here you can see more detail on John Hunt's Romulan Warbird. You can see that he's got a lot of window work that was done there. I built that kit myself a couple years ago, and I know how much work that is. That's a lot of work to get those done. Here we go. Here's the kit that's coming out from Revell. This is the Zvezda mold. It's, let me see if it says on here, I think it's 1/2700 scale or something like that, but it's a huge kit. It's Revell is calling it their Master Series, but this is basically the Zvezda mold. It's being put out through Revolve Germany. It's supposed to be available here in the next month or so. I believe kits are already starting to pop up on eBay. So they shouldn't be too hard to find, but they are going to do a limited run on these, so you want to get one if you want to get one. I'm definitely going to order mine here really quick. And I kind of held on getting one of those Vestas because I thought it might be easier and quicker to get one from Revell. But so there you have it. That's going to be an awesome kit. Again, being probably 26, 27 inches long, it's going to be huge. Finally getting a nice large scale Star Destroyer, which is cool. Hopefully there'll be more to come. Love to see them do a large scale Death Star. There's only been one kit, as far as I know, from a regular model company of the Death Star, and it was done by, I think it was MPC or something like that, and it was just an absolutely terrible kit. The detail on it was really lacking. Some people have taken those kits and spruced them up a little bit, made them look pretty good, but the basic kit's not that great. Let's see what else we have here, guys. Getting down a little bit further. It'd be nice to see a young modeler at work there. Kenneth Zimmerman's working on the Beatles Yellow Submarine kit. And we're starting to get into the stuff from that we updated you from our last episode, so I think we're going to call this segment here a wrap, guys. So anyways, yes, we very much appreciate all the activity on the group build this year. We're probably going to do, as I talked about, we're probably going to do another 48-hour build. We'll probably give like maybe a month or so break after we finish up the spring build, which ends on June 1st, which we've got a couple of weeks left to go on that. That's why I've got to get my work done on my little Nelly here. But we'll probably do a little 48-hour build again after that, and then we'll maybe think about something for mid-summer or something like that, another group build. We'll pick a new subject to work on. So we're going to take a quick break, everybody, and when we come back, we're going to be on the bench. Tonight we're going to do a little bit of painting and a little bit of assembly work on the little Nelly, and I'll update you. I've also been working on the Chrysler Turbine car a little bit, the one that we did the out-of-the-box kit review on last week, and that's coming along nicely. So we'll see you right after the break, guys. Be right back. Okay, everybody. Well, we've moved over to the bench now, and we're getting set up here to do a little bit of work on the our little Nelly again. This is the for those of you who might not have caught it the last time. This is the vintage Airfix kit. It's 1/24 scale. It's from the old James Bond movie with Sean Connery. I love how they've got him in his just his tuxedo with his Walther there, all nonchalant and casual. But the actual figure that you get, I'll show you. I've got him glued together here. Is the way he looked in the film. He had sort of a khaki shirt with this really kind of funky helmet, with a little camera on the top of it, and his little microphone there and everything. So I'm going to be working on him this week, doing the painting on him. Um, Before we get going on the work on the little Nelly, I wanted to show you just a quick update on our turbine car. I've been working on the a little bit of the body work here to start with, and just I wanted to show you guys how impressed I am with this. We talked last week about these Molotow liquid chrome pens, these markers, and I've done some preliminary painting on this. You can see I've got the body all spruced up here with my gloss and everything on there, and the black vinyl top. I've even done the headliner in this car was sort of a cream color, so I've got that all done. Now you can see what's unique about this model is that your doors, even your front fenders, are separate. So I'm just kind of painting everything one at a time. But I just wanted to show you, if you guys can see this, this chrome pen stuff is just fantastic. It's I mean, it looks just like bare metal foil on there, guys. I mean, it's fantastic. You can see that on the bottom half of the car here, as I talked about during the out-of-the-box kit review, you could see that it was sort of a polished stainless or polished aluminum, and so I just went over that with that pen. Now I used I bought the 2mm and the 4mm. The 4mm one is what I used for that bottom, and it put down just a smooth. I was kind of wondering if it would cover very nice and show streaks or anything, but it doesn't. It came out beautiful. And the little 1mm or 2mm one has got a fine enough tip where this camera's not going to show the detail, but the little script word on the side of the quarter panel here that says Turbine on it, I did that with that pen on both sides, and it looks just like bare metal foil, guys. It's got a beautiful, really realistic chrome-like finish, and it really comes out nice because what I did is I painted the body. The paint that I wound up using was this Craft, it's called Antique Copper. It came really close to the original kind of bronze color that these cars were. They only, as I mentioned, they only came in one color. But I went ahead and painted that Craft on there, and then I painted over that with my really good high gloss automotive clear, and it's got a beautiful shine on it. It's all been buffed out and everything, and that really makes a difference on the chrome too. I mean, the if you put that over the top of a gloss finish, it really looks great. But even up here where I did it on the the sort of this is more of a satin that I used on the roof, and it even looks great on that, and it doesn't seem to be bad as far as, a lot of that kind of stuff, when you touch it or whatever, it gets dull and smudged out or whatever. This doesn't seem to do that at all. It dries and it stays just the way it is. And so just thought I'd share that with you guys. I'm going to be putting out an update video on this on my regular TrekWorks channel this week as I get a little bit further along. Right now I'm just doing some basic painting of the body parts and stuff, and when I start assembling, I'm going to put out a video on that. So just thought I'd share that with you guys. Those Molotow pens are fantastic, worth every penny, and they're way better than the old method that I was using for some of that, with just this basic silver Sharpie, which in a lot of cases that look pretty good, but this stuff is just far superior to that. And I found that you can control it really well. It's not really, these aren't really markers per se. They're more like paint pens. So I was kind of worried about, because you depress that tip, and sometimes a whole lot of paint will come out of there. Well, these don't seem to do that. I mean, I'm really able to control it really well and get exactly the flow that I'm looking for. And then I plan on getting a couple more sizes of those, so I have some I can use them for specific applications depending on how wide or how narrow the area that I'm painting is. But so thumbs up on those, guys. If you haven't checked those out and you build a lot of model cars, or you need, you know, that kind of an effect on any kind of a model, it's well worth the money. So moving on now, tonight we're going to be working on some more on the Little Nelly. Here's how it's looking so far. I've just basically in the last episode we started building up the framework a little bit there, and I just went ahead and assembled the engine. It's a very simple engine. It's just two halves, like a block in the middle and two cylinder heads. We wound up putting the mast up on the top here with the rotor and everything. We didn't miss hardly anything there, just a few parts got glued on. And then I went ahead and laid down my base coat here of the silver for the, basically the entire thing here is silver. Then you have just the body work and, you know, the tail section here that was done in this yellow. Now I had a shade of yellow here that was kind of a more of a bright yellow, and I just took and mixed a little bit of red in with that to give it more, a little bit of an orangish yellow, more matching the going back and looking at the movie, matching that color. But I just done a little bit of paint detail. I painted the handle on the control yoke here, and the headrest up here, and the carburetor intake down here on the top of the engine. So what I'm getting ready to do right now is, before I go any further on this, I want to do a little bit of a wash on this entire part here, because we want to bring out the details on that and give it a little bit of, you know, texture and depth. So I'm using this nice little product from Game Color. This is their basic black wash. It's a pre-made wash. Now I find that these, especially the darker colors, are a bit strong for a wash. So what I usually will do with this is I'll take and dilute it a little bit with water. So what I've done here is I've got a little bit of this in a cup, and I just put in a little couple pumps of my squirt bottle of water to mix with it. You can kind of see the consistency of it there. It's kind of broken up a little bit. And now we're just going to take and go over this entire, we have a seat here and we'll get to work on this. We're just going to go over this entire assembly except for the tail area, and we're just going to give it a little bit of a wash, and that's going to just make the metal look more realistic and bring out the detail on the, you know, the various parts and pieces here, up here on our rotor section, and down here on the engine block especially is where I really wanted to get a lot of that in there. And this is very simple to use. You just put it on there. You can put it on there fairly liberally, you know. Don't have to be super careful with it. Now we've actually got the instrument cluster here up in the front, but we've got a decal set that comes with this, so we'll be applying that, and it gives us all the nice instrumentation there up in the cockpit, which is a nice little touch. I always like it when they do that. I wish that more of the car kits came with the gauges and stuff for the interior. But you can see I'm just, you know, brushing this on, letting it flow. Don't even have to be very careful with it, just filling it in all around these little areas here. And I mean, right before my eyes, it's just making this thing look 100% better, more, you know, much more realistic. Now what you want to do with a wash is you want to make sure that you don't see any I call them puddles, you know, people might call them something different, but where, you know, kind of where it piles up in a certain spot. If you see something like that going on before it dries, you want to just take your brush and just kind of break it up a little bit and spread it around a little, because sometimes it will run down and accumulate on something and get too thick. But you don't want to take it all off of there, because that's the whole point of this, is that you want to see it. And it just looks really cool, and it gives that texture and depth to the subject. Come around here and do this side. Show you how we're looking here. Not the most detailed camera, but you can kind of see now that instead of looking just like pure aluminum, it's collecting on all these edges and everything, and just giving it some shadowing and some, you know, bringing out the detail. That's what we're looking to do here. And again, you can kind of play around with the how much you want to dilute this stuff, depending on how strong or how weak of a wash you want. It's water based, so you can, you know, adjust it a little bit very easily. bottom side now. Now this model is got something I'll talk about here in a minute. We've got the bodywork that needs to go on this, kind of the front cockpit enclosure, and what we're going to have to do on this is we're going to have to do some careful masking, because what I'm going to do is we're going to paint the two halves in our basic yellow color here, and then we've got to glue those over the top of this framework. But the actual figure of Bond has to go in there first, according to the instructions. It must be that he won't fit in there once the cockpit is the side halves are put on. So what we've got to do there is we've got to get him painted and everything and installed, which I'll work on that this week. Probably take some pictures of it so I can share those with you guys for the next show. And then we've got to put these, this bodywork on around it, and there's going to be a big seam on the top and the bottom. So we're going to have to carefully mask everything off and just leave that seam exposed, fill in that seam with our putty work, and then we're going to have to paint around it and do a little bit of touch-up. But that's my wash, and as I said on this camera here, it's not going to be totally revealing, but it's made a huge difference in bringing out the the detail and like I said, the texture of this whole thing. Looks way better, especially when we get up around the top up here where the rotor and everything is. I'm going to put a little bit more on that little part right there. So if you haven't used a wash before, that's just the real basics of how that works. I guess I'll go ahead and put a little bit on the control surface of the tail here too, just to bring out that little detail there. And that made that look better. You can see it made it more pronounced. So that's that. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to take a quick break here. I'm going to get my airbrush set up. We're going to bring over the yellow paint, and we're going to paint the forward part of the body work here, and so you can kind of see how that's going to look. This paint I'm using is my regular automotive paint, so it'll dry pretty fast. We can show you, probably be able to show you a little test fit of that. And then we've got our little wheels ready to go here, and we're going to go ahead and glue those on. Now, I haven't figured it out yet, but a lot of these type models where they're kind of three-point landing gear, we've got our two wheels that go on here, and then you've got a little nose wheel in the front. These tend to want to be tail heavy. I think it's going to be all right once the figure's in there and the front part of the bodywork is on, but if not, what I'm going to do is I'll probably put a little bit of weight in the front part of the body, just a little half of a fish sinker or something like that. I've got a bunch of those old lead type fish sinkers that we can cut in half and put that on there, and that'll take care of our problem with the nose wheel not wanting to sit on the ground. I haven't made up my mind yet. I may wind up mounting this on a one of those little Polar Lights bases that I usually use for my helicopter models, that has a short little mounting rod, and it has a swivel head on the top. So we might do that so we could have the helicopter look like it's flying, and might be a good idea because we've actually got the figure in there. It looks kind of silly if you got that with nobody flying it, but since we have the figure, we might go ahead and do that. That way we can kind of move it around and tilt it and make it, have some fun with it after it's on display. So we'll be right back after the break, guys, and we'll be painting the forward part of the body section. See you in just a second. Okay guys, we're back again and we're ready to paint our bodywork here on the front. Now as I mentioned, these are in two halves here, and so we have to paint these, and then they're going to basically wrap around the structure like this and get glued in place. But what we have to keep in mind is that there's going to be a seam here on the very top and on the very bottom, and we have to take care of that. We don't want to have that nasty seam there. So once everything, the bond figure and everything is in there, we're going to have to mask all this off really careful and work with that. Now I'm going to take, before I go any further here, one little detail I was going to work on that I forgot to here is that we had to open up these little gun ports here at the very front. I'm going to show you this. These have been primed and lightly sanded with some 600, so they're ready to be painted, but these little gun ports right here, there's some 50 caliber machine guns that mount on the inside here, and just the barrel sticks out. Those holes are not there on the kit, so you have to open those up. And I just roughly opened them up with my hobby knife. So what I want to do now is I want to take my little round miniature file here, and we're going to just kind of clean them up a little bit more. I want to make sure I get the round one here. Let's see, where are you hiding at? There you are. Okay. And you can see I bought this little set of miniature files here for all the windows that I do on those Starship models, and it's coming in handy for a lot of other things. But I'm just going to work on just the edges of this a little bit to get the jagged spots out of it where I had done the work with the hobby knife, and try to get them as symmetrical looking as I can, so they're both kind of the same size and look. Not going to take much work. It's already looking a lot better. I want to make them too big. Just getting rid of the little bit of jagged edges that were there. As you can see, get these a little closer. They cleaned up real nice, pretty easily. So we'll move on now to painting them. I've got my little airbrush set up here with more of my yellow paint. So ready to go here. Spraying it regular, like spraying it about 30 psi. Let's see if there's a place I can grab a hold of this thing on the inside. It doesn't look like it. Let me see if I can maybe clamp on this. Certainly don't have to. Well, I'll use the old-fashioned method here. Some sticky tape on my finger. And we'll do it like that. Okay, so let's put a little bit of paint on this. Now yellow typically is very transparent when you paint it, so it'll take several coats here. We've got this gray primer. And just like I thought it would, it's looking kind of a greenish yellow right now with that gray kind of still coming through there. So I'm going to grab my heat gun here really quick. We'll give this a little boost on the drying. Just careful not to get it too hot. This paint that I use, this automotive paint, it dries to a sort of a more of a satin finish and not a gloss, so you can kind of tell by looking at it when you're getting it close to dry, or at least dry on the surface. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're able to put another coat on it. before we put any more, we'll go ahead and dry it again. Like I said, it's probably going to take about 2 or 3 times here. Something I'm going to share with you guys in a second too. I found a website where a fellow modeler out there built this same kit, and I'm using it as a guide for the color scheme and everything that was on it, because he actually went ahead and did a lot of extra modifications to the kit. He went all out on it. I'm just doing a out of the box build. He added seat belts and a lot of custom made parts and stuff like that, and it looks fantastic. But I'm just mainly using it for references on the colors, because the instructions for this are the color indications are for some old Humbrol colors that they don't even make anymore, so they weren't much good. But this reference model that he built, using it for references, is really good. He did a beautiful job on the model, as you'll see here in just a second. I'm going to worry about the edges too much, because we're going to, as I said, we're going to have to putty work on that, and that'll get repainted anyway. But the color is right where it should be now. One more time with the drying, and we can set this one down and move on to the other one. As you can see, I'm staying back a good 6-8 inches away with my heat gun and constantly moving it. That way I don't melt it. It takes a while to get used to that. Yet a lot of guys that have asked me about this, I recommend maybe if you're new to it, starting off trying it with a hair dryer, because they're not quite as hot and a little bit more forgiving, especially if you're working on painting something like that and drying it. It's got some more fragile type of part where it could melt, the edges of it or something like that. So, got that one done. Let's get a new piece of tape and get to work on the second one here. Probably going to have to load up our airbrush again here. And these are just regular, I just use these, primed these with regular Duplicolor primer and sanded them with 600 grit. I didn't use any adhesion promoter on this, because we're not going to be masking complex and stuff like that. We're just going to be doing regular paint work on this, and I sanded them real good, and I cleaned them with some soap and water first, so they should be fine. Whenever I'm doing masking with striping and stuff like that, or patterns, I'll always use adhesion promoter, but I didn't think I needed to do it on this one. Nice little guide coat there. You can see the difference where this one looks more kind of greenish yellow than the other one once we've got a couple of coats of paint on that. Coming around here, looking good. Of course, I'm going to gloss coat all this too after it's done. We'll get all of our, we've got some decals that need to go on this, and seal that off with a really nice coat of gloss. Okay, that looks good. Shot with the drying. All right. I think I'm gonna call that a wrap, guys. We're gonna set these off to the side. They both look the same. And now we're going to wrap this up with putting our, I've got some thinner in this little cup here. I'm just going to clean off the overspray on my fingers. We're going to finish up here, just doing a little bit more assembly work. We're going to go ahead and get the wheels mounted on this. Okay. So I've got those pre-painted here. We'll get them taken off of the sprue. Inner hubs. And the nose wheel. Nose wheel, I've got to do just a little bit of painting on it to get that center hub silver. So I've got my small little brush here and some silver paint. That done. There's our little wheel. Okay, we'll just set this off to the side here. Let me see if I can find something to stand that up so it doesn't lay on the paint. That'll be dry by the time we get to it here. These other ones are already done, so we can glue these together. Getting kind of low on glue in this, I think. All right. There's one. The tires I just painted with regular craft black, flat black, craft acrylic, and it looks just like realistic rubber. It's worked out great, so now we can go ahead and glue these on. Oop. Be careful putting too much pressure on that. There we go. See how that looks. Pretty good. Got that little spot there. We gotta touch up. Put those on the bottom. Where we clipped it off of the sprue. That looks great. Okay. And our nose wheel now. Just kind of slides up in between these two forks. And there we go. As I said, you can see the camera's kind of looking straight down here, so it's kind of hard to see it, but she doesn't want to sit down on her nose, so I'll see how it looks once we get we'll put the figure in here really quick and just kind of check it out. It's already making a little bit of a difference, but I think it's going to need some weight. So up in the very front part of the nose here where there's nothing going on, I'm going to put a little bit of weight up in there in the very tip, and that's going to take care of that problem. But you can see what we have to do here is that we have to put the figure's got to go in there before the two halves go on, and I can see why his hips are too wide to fit in there. That's the reason. So we may even have to shave his hips down a little bit. We'll have to see how close that fits. But there we go, guys. We got a little bit more painting done. We got the weathering done on the motor and the framework and everything. And we got our paintwork done on the front part. As I said, I'm going to be working on what we'll have to do here is we'll put these two halves on and we'll mask all around that and just leave the seam exposed, maybe with a little bit extra around it. It's the way I usually do those, with some tape. And we'll lay our putty on there, sand it down, come back with our airbrush and really carefully just touch all that up once we get that smoothed out. And we'll have to carefully mask off all the other stuff that's close by so we don't get overspray on it. But it's coming along really nice, so we're right on schedule here. We should be able to have this done. We've got some nice marking decals, some stripes that go on the tail there and on the nose, and so that'll spruce it up quite a bit too. It's going to look nice when it's all done. I'm really impressed with this little kit. People aren't usually too up on Airfix stuff, but this is actually going together quite well. So there's our update for our little Nelly, and that's a wrap for our bench work tonight, guys. We'll be right back after another quick break, and we're going to come back and do our shout outs and our Q&A for tonight. So we'll see you all with that in just a couple seconds. Hang tight, everybody. Okay, back with you again, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the update on the bench of our little Nelly. Here's another look at it. This camera shows a little bit better, and you can see that wash brought out the detail on the framework and everything a lot better. So she's going to look great. So we'll have some more for that next episode. I was looking at the calendar here, and we're off, of course, next week, and then I think the week following that is Memorial Day weekend. But if it does, I'm just going to give everybody a heads up that if it does fall on Memorial Day weekend, we're going to go ahead and have the show anyway. We've missed a couple of the shows because of holidays, so I don't have anything going on. My wife and I are just planning on staying home this year and cooking out, so we'll just go ahead and do a show that night. So hopefully those that can attend, we'll have a show for you that night. So that's about 3 weeks away. So and that'll be getting close to the wrap on our spring build too. So hopefully we'll have some nice final updates from everybody and be able to share those with you on our show. So time now to head over to the shout outs and the Q&A and see who's here with us tonight. I'll get my list up here. Let's see. We got 104 people in the chat right now, or at least are watching. So if you guys are out there and you're watching, make sure you type something into the chat so we can call out your name. We've got Omar with us tonight, Eric Hawkins, Mark Shue, Dadnator24. Rick, I still haven't heard a date on the Fiesta show for this year yet. As soon as I do, I'll let you know. As I said, we're planning a little get-together here at my house, either the night before the show or the after the show, maybe both. So we'll just see how that goes, but I'll let you guys know as soon as I hear something on that. We have George Vilkowski, B. Tilley, Mike Kovac, Jennifer White, Armando with DLC Model Builders is here tonight. I know Armando and I were talking a couple weeks ago. We're both excited about the new Alien Covenant movie that's coming out. I'm really hoping that they did a good job on that movie. That the Prometheus just wasn't for me. Being an Alien fan, I didn't think it had enough of Alien in it, but it was a good standalone sci-fi movie. Let's see, John Petrie's with us tonight. John's staying up late. He's over there in the UK. Dennis with Federation Shipyard. Nice to see you, Dennis. Barrick 13. James Schulenberg. Shannon Freeman. Dana Church. Chris Farrell. Andrew C. Phil Sprueworks. Scott's here tonight. Aussie Trekkie. Daniel Jumper. Brent Schmidt. Charles Forbin. He's talking about that he's tried the Molotov pens and he's liked them as well. Yeah, I'm really impressed with those. Ted Pelzini. I hope I'm saying your name right, Ted. Welcome. I think you might be new. James Frost, eBiker 56. Nice to see you, James. Great work on your Papercraft Formula One racer. It turned out beautiful. Leona Timber Company. Akela 2030. Recreated. Big Stats. Excalibur Starship Builders. Ron Mac 95. Eric Hawkins. Sunny Shade. Triskelion. Nice to see you. Got to catch up with you soon on... we haven't talked to you guys in a while. Space Pirate. Nice to see you, Chris. Paul DiTomaso. Clint Llewellyn. Our friend Heath from the Land Down Under is with us tonight. Nice job on your Riviera, Heath. I love that old body style. I was just watching an episode of Jay Leno's Garage where they showed one of those cars on there all customized out. They did a beautiful job on it. I think it was the exact same year as that one you built. Got Chuck Brooks with us tonight. Thomas Johnson. Thomas, I've not had a lot of time to work on my hood. I'm just kind of keeping it on the back burner right now. I can't wait to get back on it. I've been doing a lot of my 350 scale Enterprise work and just haven't had time to get to it. Got Scott Freeberg here tonight. Haven't seen Scott in a while. Nice to see you, Scott. Shrapnel 2389. Ken Zimmerman. Ben Clemens. Omar says he's up for the cookout. Yeah, you're welcome to come, Omar. Come on down to the show, and we're gonna cook some, do a good Texas style barbecue here, and probably the night before, and then we're gonna head over and check out the show the next day. Should be a lot of fun. Roger Ball is here tonight. I'm loving those sprue cutters, Roger. Thanks again for sending those. They're coming in very handy. I've managed not to lose them or break them so far, so that's a good sign. Yeah, if any of you guys are interested in attending the Fiesta Model Show, it's held here in San Antonio annually every year. It's one of the bigger shows around. I've done a lot of coverage on it. Most of you guys have been following the show for a while. I've seen our videos where I show the footage from the show every year, and unfortunately it's only a one-day show. I wish it was. It's a big enough show where they could definitely have it for more than one day, but I think it's a matter of they have to rent out a really large space, and I'm sure it's expensive. So, but yeah, it's usually in mid-February, so they've already had the show for this year, so it'll be February of 2018. But yeah, we're already kind of making pre-plans, and I'll put up announcements on it on the Google community page. Also, guys, don't forget to check out our. We're also on our Model Shop communities on Facebook. I've been having a hard time keeping up with all the people that are signing up over there. About every other day I stop by to check in and see who wants to register, and there's about 50 people at a time, so it's just taking off like crazy. So don't forget, we've got stuff going on over there too. People are putting pictures, so whenever I have some news about something, I'll put it there and on our regular Google community page. So as soon as I have a specific date of when the show is going to be, I'll put it on there so you guys that are interested in attending can start making plans. So I've got a big backyard and a big patio in the back, guys, so we can have quite a few people. It'd be a lot of fun. Jason Baldwin is on with us tonight. He says he's just started up a 350 scale Enterprise refit, and the videos that we put out are a help. Well, that's great to hear it, Jason. That's why we do them. And between the videos that you can find from myself and a lot of the other modelers out there, or all the communities that are out there, if you have any questions about building it or anything, you can always find some help or answers. And the main thing, if you're new to something like that, is just take your time. Some people take, a year to build one of those. That's a very complex model. Dale Anderson's checking in. PJC 2.0. Thomas Johnson says he hasn't had time to work on his 1/200 scale Missouri. He's been working on a trio of 1/1000 scale TOS Enterprise models. The first, second pilots, and the production version. Well, there you go, Thomas. That'll be a nice display. The 1/1000 scale, both the refit and the classic Enterprise are really nice kits. Daniel Jumper's asking a question about paint. What do you think of that paint that has iron in it and then let it set and it rusts? I have never tried it, Daniel. I'm not sure what that is. Is it some kind of a new product that's out there? I have not seen that. Jason Baldwin says he's a first-time viewer. Well, welcome, Jason. You'll find that we've got a lively bunch of folks in here with us on the chat. All a bunch of really nice people, and if you have any questions or anything, they'll help you out. Ben Clemens says nothing like a Texas barbecue. Well, you're right about that, Ben. They really know how to do it down here. I've learned a lot since I've been here now about 20 years. I'm originally from up north, and yeah, they can do barbecue down here, that's for sure. Alpha Trion's asking if I did a video on how I hung the planes on the wall. No, I didn't do a video on it, Alpha, but it's really simple. All it is a drywall anchor that you can buy it. You know, it's just a plastic anchor that you screw into the wall. You got to make a little, punch a little hole, like a little pilot hole, and then it's got a Phillips head socket, and you just take a screwdriver and screw it in. And then I just took a uh, regular long sheet metal screw and just screwed it into that and left the edge, you know, the tip of it sticking out. And on the backs of those planes, it had the, you know, where the tail wheel is open part. I just have that screw stuck in there, you know, with the head of it, so it can't fall off or, you know, jump off it or anything. And they just hang there, and it's really simple and it works great. You could actually, you know, instead of using a screw, if you want to feel more safe or whatever, you could get one of those little hooks that has a screw end on it and just screw it right into that drywall anchor, and there you go. I've been actually asked about that quite a bit. I thought more people were actually doing that, but Mark Shue says he'll bring the brisket to the barbecue. That'd be great, Mark. Nothing like some slow cooked brisket. You know, the way they like it down here in Texas, you got to have a lot of the fat left on it. It's got to be marbleized, what they call it. That's all the flavor. I'm sure you know that, though. Kella 2030 is asking about. He says he's missed a few of the shows. How's the 1350 Reliant? It's still at Elliott Brown's. He's working on the photo etch. I mentioned during our last episode that I heard from Elliott, and he's making good progress on it. But he is working on solving some of the problems that I talked about beyond the photo etch work, and that's the rear section of that model where you have the shuttle bay doors. The way that model is cast with resin, unfortunately, a lot of the resin builds up like really thick inside there, and without cutting it open and getting on the back side of it and grinding all that out of there so you can make it thin enough to get all your lighting and light up the edges of the shuttle bay doors and everything. What Elliott's working on is recasting that whole thing in a piece of, I don't know if he's going to do it in transparent resin or what he's going to do, but when this package is available and we're all said and done here, it's going to have a whole replacement piece for the back of that you can basically take your kit, cut that whole part out, and put this in its place. It'll look exactly the same, but it'll be set up to be lit. And so Elliott does fantastic work. I'm sure the wait's going to be worth it. I told him not to be in any kind of a hurry at all. He's helping us out a lot on that. So as I mentioned when I made the video, guys, it might be a while because I'm not trying to pressure Elliott, and he's got a lot of other things he's working on too. So we should get it back here pretty soon, and you guys won't miss a thing on it. Dadnator24 says, that's Rick. Did I get any soundboards in? Yep, I got some in, Rick. Email me and let me know what you need. I know we talked about some stuff at the show, but my, I paint a lot, so my memory's not so good. If after email me and refresh my memory if we were talking about something that you needed. Outsider 238's asking when the Star Destroyer kit's supposed to come out. I think it's already hitting over in like people in England and over there are already getting them. So U.S. release should be any time now. I know there's already pre-orders up for it all over the place. Can't wait to get one of those myself. That's a fantastic kit. I've been waiting for a large-scale version of that. If you're gonna, that model should be big. The Star Destroyer, it has to be big. It has to be at least 20-something inches long. PJC 2.0 says, Is there a difference between the 1537 and 1600 scale models? I'm not sure which models you mean there, PJC. You have to be more specific. Are you talking about the old Enterprise model kits or the Reliant or... Looks like some people have got to check out here. Thanks for being with us this week, and we'll see you next time, guys. Barrick13 says he ordered his back in March and still waiting for it. Zezda version. Well, there's most of the people that have ordered those from Russia have been waiting between, anywhere from a month to 2 months to even 3 months before they're getting their kits. So I wouldn't give up on it just yet there, Barrick. Sometimes they take a little while. Maybe try contacting the guy who shipped it, and maybe see if you can get a tracking thing on it or something. They can't track it from the Soviet Union, though. That's the problem. If it's coming from the Russian Federation, they don't do tracking through there. I wanted to get one when I heard the kit came out, but I just decided to wait and get one of the Revell kits. Oh, PJC says the Enterprise models between the 1537. Well, the 1537 kits were all done by AMT. The only 600 scale kit I know of the Enterprise is the Revell Germany kit, and I'm not a big fan of that kit myself. It's kind of the shape of the saucer section. The bulge on the bottom where the planetary sensor is kind of like overly done, and the grid lines are like way too deep and way too many of them on the saucer. Now the grid lines would be no problem to fill those in, but that shape on the bottom, that's been the main complaint that I've heard from most people around the community, is that it's just not right. And the nice thing about the 600 scale kit from Revell, though, is it is set up for lighting. They do already have all the windows punched out and everything. They also make a Klingon Katinga, sort of a cross between a Katinga and the original D7. It's a D7 that has Katinga markings on it, which I thought was kind of strange, but I guess you could call that the Phase 2 version, because that's exactly what they were going to do for the Phase 2 ship before they went all out on it and completely made it into what turned out to be the Katinga. They originally were just going to take the D7 and spruce it up a little bit. Gadgetron says the 537 TOS Enterprise is the 22-inch cutaway. I don't know about that, but the one I was thinking of was the old AMT Enterprise refit kit. They started off with the first one, which they called the Smoothie because it doesn't have any of those Aztec panels molded on it. And then from then on, all the other kits that came out after that, like the Star Trek, the Wrath of Khan version, all the way through Star Trek 6, they were all molded with those ugly blocks all over the surface of the hull that most people have to wind up putting in a lot of work to get rid of those. That's a 1537 scale to go along. It's the same scale as the AMT Reliant. I didn't know that the cutaway was 1537 scale. I don't think it actually says what scale it is on the kit. Not sure about that. Take it easy, Omar. We'll see you next time, buddy. And Heath has got to go as well. Nice to have you on with us, Heath. Yeah, Mark says he's got the kit there, the 22-inch cutaway, and he doesn't see the scale. I don't think they ever officially listed a scale on that. I'm not sure it's 1537 scale because it's bigger than the um, 1537 scale classic Enterprise kit, or refit kit, I mean. So I'm not sure about that. I can remember when those 1537 AMT Ertl refit kits were a dime a dozen on eBay. I mean, you could get them for $5 or $10 still in the plastic, and now even those have gone crazy on the prices. Yeah, it could be. Lord of Midgets says the Godzilla kit earlier made me wonder what other there. As far as I know, Lord, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of Godzilla kits from all the different eras, from the original to like what's out there now, and they're not only styrene model kits, but like probably literally thousands of different garage kits, like resin kits, in all different scales. Um, I've gone to a lot of model shows and I don't think I've ever seen two of them that were the same. Brian Knowles is asking when round 2 is supposed to release the Reliant kit again in 1537 scale. Should be pretty soon, Brian. They've talked about releasing it for a while. I know the decals have already come back out. Somebody mentioned that those were available, so um, should be pretty soon if it's not out already. Uh, Someone's asking about the what are my thoughts about the Games Workshop miniatures. I'm not really into those. I really can't say too much about those. I'm not really. I don't have any time to do any of that kind of gaming type stuff anymore. I used to be into that stuff years ago. We have Bill Kittleman checking in. Nice to see you, Bill. Robert Morris. Dodge 77, lots of sevens. Says he has a Polar Lights Enterprise in 1/350 scale he's working on. Yeah, the AMT refit kit is not the best of kits to work with. It has the issue with those Aztec panels being molded on, and then the pylon mounts are. I mean, there's this tiny little tab of plastic sticking up that's supposed to hold the entire weight of the engine nacelle on the pylon. You always have to wind up beefing that up somehow, or they start sagging almost immediately. Jordy Modeler is leaving us. Don't know if I mentioned him earlier. Nice to have him on with us tonight. He's in the UK, so he's got to call it a night. I'm about ready to do the same here, guys. Gonna call this one a wrap. If you have any more questions, get them in now, and we'll call this one a day here. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We had a nice crowd again, like usual, and don't forget, if you're new, to stop by our Google community page. That's the Model Shop. You can find it on the Google community. Just do a search, and we're also on Facebook. Okay, I think we're going to call it a wrap, everybody. It looks like everybody's ready to turn in as well. Um, Again, thanks for joining us, guys. Don't forget, we'll be back not next week, but the following week, even if it is Memorial Day weekend. And we'll do a show that night and have you guys on. We'll have some fun. I will be putting out an update video this week on the TrekWorks channel on the work I'm doing on the Chrysler Turbine car, if you guys are interested in checking that out. and we'll go from there, guys. So you guys take it easy. It's been great being with you tonight. Got a little bit more done on a Little Nelly. I'm really enjoying that kit. I recommend it. As I said when I introduced that kit a while back, you can find that kit still readily available. It's not being made anymore, but they must have made a lot of them because they're all over the place. They're not very expensive, and it goes together really nice. So you guys take it easy. Happy modeling, everyone. We'll see you for the next show. In the meantime, have fun building your models. Looking forward to see what you guys are working on. Good night, everybody.